Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Great day today. We had some big time media with Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, Jim Knowles, all meeting with the geniuses that are the media. Chip Kelly, who I love to death, hates the media more than any coach I've ever seen, and they don't even realize it. But it's great. I love seeing him kind of assassinate guys, but they don't even realize they're getting assassinated. But he's the best. I love listening to his press conferences. But we're gonna get into that. What's this offensive line about to look like? Is Zen gonna give it a go? Is he practicing like he allegedly did? It's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't know how you count on him. He's gonna have to shoot it up because I know what it is, and it's not good. So we're gonna see. But I think that you got to get Donnie ready to go at left tackle. We're gonna talk about that. The defensive scheme. Penn State is raring to go. Two potential quarterbacks we can see between Drew Aller and the backup. Who's it going to be? How do you get ready for all that? We're going to break it all down and take your questions. As always, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys kicking in with us each and every night. We're on a incredible roll right now. 33,000 subs. Thank you guys so much on YouTube. Again, I appreciate all you guys that have been signing your friends up, your family. I know that you guys can only sign up to subscribe one time, so you guys are spreading the good word. So we appreciate that. Again, the best thing you can do to really help us out, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Get on your iPhone, get on your iPad, get on the podcast app, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. It's absolutely free. You can also do it on Spotify. So if you want to be the greatest Scoop family member of all time, subscribe to all three: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. They're all free. And it helps us out tremendously. It grows our channel, propels us up the algorithm. Make sure you chat. Make sure that you comment on the videos. Those are all huge for growing the channel. They all help us grow everything. Smashing everybody right now. We're closing in on the biggest month in Scoop history. So while everyone else is scared of Halloween, we aren't. We're excited about Halloween because it's going to cap the biggest month in Buckeye Scoop history. Thanks to you guys. With that being said, going to bring in my good friend Nevada. Nevada, we had the holy trinity of Guru with Ryan Day, Jim Knowles, Chip Kelly, all at the microphone. Strangely, they held Will Howard. Will Howard was chirping a little bit that he's excited to go back to Penn State, which again, I'm all about that life. I love that he said, I always want to be an Nittany Lion. They didn't want me. Now I get to come home. So again, when you talk that talk, you better walk that walk. And they did not put him on the microphone, which I thought would have been great. But they had the three big dogs out there, which I thought was appropriate as you get into the biggest game of the season thus far. But what are your thoughts as we are rolling towards Happy Valley this Saturday?
Yeah, well, I think that, you could tell sometimes, like, you can't tell anything from the press conferences. And I think for the most part, they're not going to give away tactics. They're not going to give away personnel groupings. They're not going to give away who's starting or who isn't starting or whatever. But you can sometimes tell just by their mood and their demeanor about where they're at on certain things. And clearly, Ryan was pretty happy with the defense in terms of what they had done and, how they'd kind of amped up the pressure. And we had talked about that being, one of the big priority focuses coming out of the Oregon game was amp up the pressure, make the quarterbacks more uncomfortable, the negative plays, sacks, tackles for losses. And they were able to, accomplish a lot of this. Not a perfect outing by any, gave up too many points, gave up too many explosive plays. But for a first time in terms of kind of embracing this new philosophy in 2 years, I thought it was a good step forward, and certainly a positive one going into Penn State. And then on the offensive side, obviously the conversation was about the running game, the offensive line, and Ryan kind of intimated that Zen was kind of in the mix to start at left tackle. And one thing we don't like to do here is talk about injury stuff. And, we're big on inside information. Our site's about inside information. Our podcast about inside information. But injury stuff is just not – we don't like to break that. We don't think it's fair to the kids. We don't think it's fair to Ohio State. If they don't want that stuff out there, we're not going to be the one to talk about it. As I said on the board, though, I would be – if Zen runs out there to start, I would be surprised. Now, that's maybe he will, and stranger things have happened. I mean, you never know. I always say injury reports are kind of like early reports in a war. Early reports in a war are always wrong. they're like, oh, this happened, and then it turned out it didn't happen, and it was like something completely different. Like early reports on Lathan Ransom's latest injury were bad, like really bad. And and had we decided to run with that and be like, oh, this is really bad, and then it turns out he just misses a game, one, you created alarm. You've kind of painted a kid, with an injury thing that wasn't there, and just, I mean, everything about it's just not good. So what I'll say on the Zen thing is, I am rooting for that to be true, because I actually thought Zen improved throughout the game, as crazy as that may sound. Yeah, a guy that has never taken a rep before as a starter, when he starts, it's going to be uneven. There's going to be good plays. There's going to be a lot of bad plays. And what you're hoping for is that they get better, or at least try to kind of move along and not get worse as the game goes, not completely lose it. And I thought Zen was able to do that. Now, what if Zen can't go? Then what do we do? Then I think it's got to be George at left tackle and Donnie at guard. Or Donnie goes to guard or goes to tackle, and then that Austin, Luke, Carson in some combination of those three plays at the left guard. So, there's really not a lot of other combinations that you can really possibly go with at this point in time. And I mean, unless you wanted to move Josh to the left side and then try to play somebody else at right tackle. But I think for Ohio State, here's the reality. Every team has injuries. Penn State has injuries. They defensive end, a tackle, their quarterback. I mean, everybody's got injuries. So no excuses. Just do the best you can. Line it up. You've got a team with tremendous depth. And yeah, it was unfortunate that was your left tackle, kind of your key to your line. But at this point, you gotta scheme around it. You got to play around it. Other guys got to step up and support it. And I'm not saying I'm tired of talking about it, because it's not interesting, because I know it's of key interest to a lot of our people. It's of interest to me in terms of seeing it on Saturday. But I'm tired of the excuse. Like I want Ohio State just to go out and play football. Go out and play your game, do your thing, make it happen. You're better than Penn State. You're better than Penn State at just about every position, and go win the game. And the left tackle, I expect left tackle to come in and be able to play. I mean, do I expect him to be Orlando Pace or Taylor Decker? No, but maybe as Taylor Decker was in his first game against Khalil Mack, a guy that just gets somebody that goes out there and battles and tries and design plays that either give him help or run the ball the other way or whatever you want to do, and be smart about it. But I love the mindset of the Ohio State team. I love the mindset of the guys that we talk to, of the people around the program. I really believe Ohio State's going to play their best game of the year on Saturday. I've said that before. I'll stand by that. I'll double down on that on Tuesday night. I think Ohio State's going to have a big effort, and it's going to take a big effort, because we win. We typically beat Penn State, but at Penn State those games are tussles, and I don't think this one will be any different. I think this is going to be a heck of a game, but I really believe Ohio State's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think that the hardest part going forward, like, again, as much as I would love to believe Zen can play, I don't believe he can play. I mean, this is a guy that walking off the field on Saturday, no pressure on the knee, under the arms of the trainers, on crutches on the side. And again, I know the first thing you said to me, because again, you're astute, is that, well, in 2012, Braxton Miller rode the ambulance off the field like it was Madden 92 on Genesis, and I was like, yeah, but Braxton's Braxton's a little bit of a drama queen, and I love Braxton, but that was kind of his thing. Like, he was like when we ran every test known to man and we're sitting in that Saffron that following Sunday, we're like, there wasn't they couldn't find a single thing wrong with him. Nothing. Full body scan, MRI, they couldn't find anything wrong with him. So again, that was a little dramatic. Again, I tore my knee up and I ran off the field, which was stupid, but I didn't care. I was unless my leg's completely torn apart, I'm gonna boogie my way off the field. And Zen, couldn't put any pressure on it. So do I think that he can magically heal or shoot it up with painkillers and play on it, especially when I know what the injury is? I don't think so. And this isn't questioning Zen's anything. And by the way, the college football playoff rankings are coming out right now, and Ohio State's at number 4, which is kind of cool. So as much as everybody wants to cancel the season, we actually have a bye as of today. So that's kind of neat. But I think you have to get Donnie ready. I think that the toughest part about the whole situation is that, your 2 left tackles, your first team left tackle is Jimmy Simmons, your second team left tackle, Zen, they've both been hurt in back-to-back weeks. So, on the right side, you have you have Josh Fryer, you have George Fitzpatrick. And again, I think that George would probably be better at left tackle than Josh. I mean, Josh played left tackle last year and in the spring, and he was atrocious. And again, I'm not being hard on Josh, but it takes time to flip sides. And ideally, if you have him in practice, again, Josh Fryer needs every rep that he can possibly get at right tackle. He doesn't have time to switch from right to left and in season. And again, I'm the same guy Josh is. If they would have said in the middle of the season, Kirk, you have to go from right tackle to left tackle, I could have done it, but it would have been inefficient. I wouldn't have been as good as I was at right tackle just because that's all I ever played. So again, and that's, shame on me for only being a right side guy. Because once you get to the NFL, you got to be kind of ambidextrous. But so once I got to the NFL, I had to play left tackle, and it was a little bit of a struggle because I'd always been on the right side. But I think that if we were playing Akron, I think that it's suitable to start one of the backup right tackle, start George or somebody at left tackle. But when you're playing Abdul Carter and Penn State at Happy Valley, I think it has to be Donnie. Again, I just think that Donnie's played left side. Donnie's, kind of the pseudo captain of the offensive line. Preseason All-American, preseason All Big Ten, preseason everything. He's your best athlete on the left tackle. I just think that that's where it has to go. Donnie's got a chance to become a legend. If you somehow, some way shift out to left tackle and you can lock it down and run the table and beat Penn State, beat Indiana, beat Michigan, and win a national championship, what a story that would be. What an opportunity that would be. And again, I think that that's something that NFL people would be like, wow, what an incredible sacrifice to go from somewhere where you're pretty comfortable at left guard to somewhere where you had to go do something to be a good team player and make the team better. So it's not really unprecedented where we've had guards slide out to tackle. I mean, Rob Sims did it in 2005 when I got hurt for at least half of a game against Penn State. Doug Dadish went from guard to tackle. And Donnie's a better athlete than either of those guys. He's stronger than either of those guys. So he's got the ability to do it. And again, I looked at his tape when he was in high school again, and I think that he's built to play tackle. Again, he's not as tall as you'd like at tackle, but he's got the strength and the athleticism to do it. Obviously, he's a wicked smart kid, so the assignments won't be an issue at all. And frankly, when you're playing a top 15-ish pass rusher like Abdul Carter, you want a guy who's your best athlete that gives you the best chance to win. Now, again, if you're, it's always mystifying to me when I watch guys that are allegedly intelligent offensive play callers and offensive coordinators do dumb things. And I know a lot of you people on here are Steelers fans, and a lot of you guys watched Monday Night Football last night. And, the Giants have a chance to win the game or at least tie the game, driving late in the fourth quarter. And they put Jermaine Elamalure, who's terrible at right tackle, and they solo him up versus TJ Watt. And, in my world, there is no way in the universe. There's a lot of guys that can beat you. I'm not going to let the one guy beat me. I'm not going to let TJ Watt beat me. So what I'm getting at is, wherever Abdul Carter lines up, you need to help Josh or Donnie, especially Donnie. If he's on Donnie's side, and again, it's not that I don't think Donnie can do it, but it's going to be his first start at left tackle. He's out on the island. And again, I lived on the island. I was an All-American on the island. So I know what it's like to play out on the island. And I'm telling you, if you got a guy who can lock it down, and again, Josh has been pretty good in pass pro, you got to help the other guy. Whoever our left tackle is, if it's Zen, which at this point I think would be a miracle, or Donnie, you got to help. You got to get a tight end in the wing, and you got to teach him how to chip, and you got to teach him how to get four hands on the pass rusher, especially in the noise when it's loud. And Donnie's he's got to get used to getting off on the mark in practice. Honestly, As great as it is that Zen might be practicing or doing whatever he's doing, and again, he might just be out there on crutches. He might just be out there watching. I would be stunned if he's getting a full participation practice in. But you have to put hands on Abdul Carter, whoever the defensive end is, like on with the left tackle. If it's Donnie, if it's Zen, if it's George Fitzpatrick, you have to help that guy because Josh Fryer he's pass blocked well enough that you can leave him on an island. And again, if I'm Ryan Day and I'm Chip Kelly, I'm gonna say, look, dude, you're a multiple year starter. You're all Big Ten last year. And talking to Josh Fryer, you need to be the guy. You have to be the werewolf this week. You have to be on the island. We can't help you. We have to help your comrade on the left side. And he should be like, okay, I take that as a challenge to be an eraser this week. Like I want your goal is a tackle. It's kind of like being a closer in baseball. Like you want the stat sheet to be all zeros. No sacks, no sacks, no tackles for loss, no tackles, period, if you can help it. Now, if they fall under tackle, that's fine, but no negative plays. So that should be the challenge to Josh Fryer because, again, the left tackle is going to need help. And if Josh has Abdul Carter, then he's just got to eat him up. Like if he wants to play on Sundays, like this is going to be a great matchup for him. So, again, I would expect Donnie to play left tackle. They showed their hand. The left guard is the biggest question to me because do you really roll Luke out there as your first career start in Happy Valley when, Luke's been kind of average the last few months, or do you go to one of the other guys? I mean, that's the thing that's confusing. Again, I don't know where Carson Hinsman is in all this. I think it's absolutely insane that he's not the left guard. That's me. And again, this is a kid that played at Michigan last year versus 2 first rounders, and he hung in there pretty good. I watched the film again today. So again, the mystery of Carson Hinsman is one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen that he can't get on the field. He's like not even the top 10 on the O-line anymore because I think that kid's a good player and he's gotten bigger and stronger than last year. So I'd love to tool him out there because he's already gotten his feet wet. You don't have to worry how Carson is because he played well last year. He played against Notre Dame, played against Michigan, loud environments, good guys up front. And he's like underneath the bench now, which is, again, I've never seen anything like it in the history of Ohio State football. So, and maybe I'm wrong, Nevada, you can correct me. You've been around a lot longer than I have, where we bench a 12-game starter and he's not even in the top 10 on the O-line. But what are your thoughts? Do you have any rebuttals to that? We're starting to get some super chats in. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, the Hinsman thing, I do not believe that he is being punished for a podcast. So for anybody that believes that, they're entitled to believe it. And I just don't believe it. I think it's from the people I talk to, I think it's as simple as Ryan Day and Justin Fry just don't like his play, and that's kind of where we're at. I don't understand it. Coaches make mistakes in evaluations all the time. They certainly have more information than we do, but they're not perfect. And, we can go throughout history of Ohio State and look at guys that, that played and maybe people felt the backup should have played. And you lived very famously through one of those situations with this Wick Troy Smith thing. So, stuff happens all the time where the coaches may see things differently than other people do. I talk to people really close to the program that think Carson should be playing. They do not understand why he's not playing. Now, he did get hurt by that hoof, foot, and mouth or mad cow disease or whatever that thing was. And, that took him down, a bunch in the fall, but he's back. He was an Iron Buckeye. And as you said, he's got starts at Notre Dame, starts at Michigan. And for all the garbage that Hinsman takes of his play, we outgained Michigan and their incredible, greatest offensive line, 5 blocks of granite up front last year. We outgained them with Carson Hinsman starting at center, playing the entire game. So, how bad could he possibly have been? I think the stuff with Carson's gotten a little bit overblown, but I would be rolling with him for sure. Smart kid, like you said, bigger and stronger and experienced, and the moment's not gonna be too big for him. He played at Notre Dame at night, and that was a huge freaking game. And the game at Michigan, obviously last year, those are 2 really big road environments. So I'd be finding a place for him to play. They've been repping him behind Seth at center and just kind of, just leaving him there. But I would put him out there. I would have him at left guard if Donnie's at left tackle. But I would get him in there, and for sure I would use him. But I don't. It's not personal, and it's not some like I said, some prolonged punishment because he said something on some Who's Your Daddy podcast during the Cotton Bowl run up or whatever that was. I just think they just don't like him. And that happens with some guys. And credit to him, he kind of knew this going into the offseason. I fully expected him to leave, and he didn't. And he stuck it out. And if you watch him on the sideline or if you watch him in the pregame, the guy that's firing up the other guys on the offensive line is Carson Hinsman. Carson Hinsman is the holler guy. Carson Hinsman's the guy that's trying to get guys fired up and going out there in terms of doing it. And, I'm not trying to play this woe is me and he was treated poorly or whatever it was, but, it's a weird situation for sure. And I think we could use Carson. And if we needed him, I don't think he would soil himself out there. I think he'd at least go out there and throw his body in front of the guys and make a play or do something. And that's what we really need right now is some experienced guys. And I think Carson could provide some of that experience.
Yeah, I think that, you're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. When you're down 2 tackles, you're, and again, on top of that, Tigra isn't playing well. And, Austin Sarveld wasn't great last game. I thought he was better than Tigra, but, there's some spots up for grab, in my opinion. And, you got to push some of these guys. Again, we're going to see some real dudes this week. These guys are way better than Nebraska's guys. Now, Nebraska's 2 down interior guys are really good. But, Penn State's are as good, and they've got the environment. They've got the noise, which will be, again, this isn't Madden. Like, the noise is a factor at Penn State. It's not a factor everywhere, but at Penn State, it absolutely is. So I think that, Tigra's got to be on point. Because, again, we need more out of him. Again, he's a guy that, he's got a lot of talent and whatever, but does he want to be great, or does he just want to be on the team? Like, that's the difference. And, again, I don't know what motivates Tigra, but he's got to figure it out pretty quick here because, again, what he put on last week. And, the coaches, they're always very neutral when it comes to assigning blame, when it comes to, they ask, what's wrong with the running game? Who needs to, what, it's a formation thing. Is it a call thing? Is it a personnel thing? And, we just had some guys that didn't get the job done. They didn't block these guys, and they were getting pushed in the backfield. And again, you guys watched my one show. I'm not going to watch it again because I got too upset. But, we had guys getting pushed in the backfield. And again, I get it when you're a young player and maybe your hands are right, but, we need you to get going. Like, we're trying to win a national championship. Like, we don't really have time for it. And again, that's where I got on the coaching staff because I'm like, I don't know if you guys go home at 6 o'clock every night or what it is, but, like, you got to get these guys going. Because again, like the output is not matching what we need. It's not matching what the skill guys are doing. So, when things aren't great on film, it leads to very long hours. And I lived that. Again, I was part of a 7-loss team as a coach. And so, when we were trying to get that thing going, man, it was a long process. Then Urban shows up, and there's nothing better than watching the film from a 6-7 team where we lost 7 games at the Ohio State University and watching that with Urban Meyer, who just got signed for, $50 million over 5 years or whatever he got. So, that turned into very long, and that was in the offseason. That wasn't even in season. So, these guys got to figure out what makes some of these guys tick. And again, I said it, and I'm really not trying to be like, Mr. Hater, but I'm like, you got to at some point threaten people's jobs and get them to perform. Because again, that's the problem is like, I think some of these guys are too comfortable. And again, they've rotated Tigra and Austin, and, Austin had a couple hiccups where, you wish that Austin could have snared the job or Tigra would play better. Because again, it's hard when you've got a new left tackle, but then your right guard has been malfunctioning as well. So, and then you throw in the left guard, which could be Luke. And again, I think Luke's a great kid, but he's making his first start. And he's doing it in probably the hardest place he could possibly play at in the Big Ten in Happy Valley versus, I watched their film yesterday, and they've got great down guys. And this is the best D-line in the Big Ten, in my opinion, outside of ours. But yeah, with that, let's switch gears to the defense. Again, I think that I talk a lot about the human element, but, the defense, I felt like, got beat to death for 2 straight weeks post Oregon. And again, I defended the defense more than most. And again, it's probably because I'm a softie or a pushover or whatever you want to call me. But I thought that, they gave us a chance to win at the very end. And again, it might not have been pretty, but they got to stop. They made them kick a 19-yard field goal. and away we went. So to me, I wasn't as down on those guys as everybody else in the world was, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I think that there's been a lot of heat around Larry Johnson, with the pass rush, Jim Knowles. I think that the players are frustrated. I think that they're starting to turn up a little bit. And again, I thought that they played hard. I thought that they played with a lot of energy. I thought they played with a lot of emotion. Again, I mean, that was as demonstrative as I've ever seen JT, which is good. I think that angry JT is good JT. And I think that Jack has been, Ryan Day was really complimentary of Jack Sawyer, where he said, you can feel him because he's a presence. Now, again, it's weird because he's, you wish he had 15 sacks, but I think that Jack does a lot of stuff to cause a lot of disruption that people don't really see. And again, he's the leader of the defense. So again, I think that between those guys, Tyreek and Ty, I mean, those guys I thought really stepped up last week. What are your thoughts on the defense going forward? Because again, they're preparing for two very different quarterbacks and kind of a revitalized offense. I mean, James Franklin very famously asked the former coach. But what do you think of the defense going to Happy Valley versus this new offensive coordinator?
Well, I think it's going to be a huge challenge, and I think I'm telling you, Aller does not scare me or concern me as much as the second guy did. And the second guy runs around. Mobile quarterbacks have always presented some unique challenges for Ohio State, especially if you're going to be bringing pressure, because if he breaks contain, if you're not disciplined, if you're not used to those pressure packages, and you leave a little crease, the guy slips through it. They can make some big things happen. So. It's going to be different. And Penn State's offense is different. Jim Knowles talked about it today, how different the Penn State offense is this year than it's ever been before. How they do, all this movement and all the eye candy, as he called it, to kind of distract the defense from what they're trying to do. So this isn't the same old Penn State offense. Predictable, run it in, statuesque quarterback back there. They're doing interesting things all over the field, using the tight end a lot. But look, I mean, this is a incredibly talented Ohio State defense, veteran unit. I don't know how many starts we've got between the guys, but it's a bunch. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of starts. And so it's time for them to clamp somebody down. And I think Penn State, they're coming at a time when Ohio State's dialing up the pressure packages. JT tends to play well in these situations. There's a lot. I mean, there's pressure on Ohio State, but there's a lot of pressure on Penn State on this game as well. And I just think the defense is going to rise to the occasion. I think in this game, you look to your big players, you look to your guys like Caleb Downs and your Denzel Burks and your JT Tumalaws and your Cody Simons and your Jack Sawyers to rise up and have their best game and make impact plays. And I really believe that they're going to. I believe this is going to be a Caleb Downs, not coming out party, but I think it's going to be the one where it firmly puts a stamp on why he's the best safety in college football. And having Ransom back as well will really help as well. So going in fully healthy defensively, no excuses, and just got to go get it done against a different type of Penn State offense.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting if you do see the backup quarterback, because I think that you've got a real opportunity to affect a guy that you've got more of a book on. Like, he started out, he had a pretty good game last week when he came back in, but when a team hasn't seen you and they haven't prepped for you, I think that it's kind of like it's obviously going to be surprising when it's a totally different style because he's more mobile. But I like our defense, and I really like their trajectory right now. Cody Simon was on fire. I say, every time we go on the road, if you guys want to sound smart to your friends, tell them the two things that Kirk always says travels well are your defense and your running game. Now, the running game has been an issue the last couple of weeks. And again, it's not because of the running backs. It's because we're not going to get done up front. And again, I'm not some guy that just says the O-line sucks. I'm saying, look, got to work the combination blocks. And you frankly have to run Will Howard more. I mean, honestly, that opens up everything. So, because if you're not getting it done on the interior, if you're not getting the interior combination blocks done well enough, you have to run on the edges. You have to run it with Emeka on the orbit motion sweeps. That was a play that I loved from a few weeks ago, and of course we shelved it. I haven't seen it since. And you got to do things to manufacture stuff out on the edges, because again, there's no law that says you have to run everything between the tackles. Which again, with our guys, with Punshan and Trey and their skill sets and their ability to catch the ball. I mean, I would figure out ways to get them the ball out in space because our perimeter guys have done a good job blocking. I'm talking about, our receivers, JJ, Emeka. They've done a good job when we get it out there. So you got to take advantage of that as best you can to get these guys going, because you can't have 2 All-American first-round pick running backs just get hit in the backfield consistently like we've been doing. Because again, I'm telling you, this is the best down front that we've seen, the best 4 down guys, and it's going to be loud. So there's going to be issues with the cadence, snap count. And again, I don't even know if I'd let Tigre leave the building this week, because I don't want to make sure that he's locked in. Because again, if you're late on the snap and the count, and it looks like vomit on in the interior, then it wrecks the whole offense. So you got to make sure that these guys are working on the silent count, because you're not going to hear anything. Make sure that you're looking at the ball. And again, a big issue that we had versus Oregon, which again would drive me absolutely ballistic if I was Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, Mickey Marotti, whoever, we had a ton of procedure penalties, which is, that's the false starts, that's stuff with the receivers. Again, I don't understand, like a tackle, and it's not because I played tackle. I'm just trying to be honest. I could kind of see a tackle flinching. A guard is right next to the ball. He should never flinch. And a wide receiver on every play in a big game is looking at the ball. He's looking down the line at the ball anyways. So receivers and guards should never flinch. Tackles, I'm not trying to give them a pass and say, oh, you're just being soft because you're a tackle. But, when you're right next to the ball and it's literally right in your periphery vision, you should be able to get in on it. Like when I played and I had to get off on the rock, because again, I had Nick Mangold, I had Jim Cordell and Dadish as my centers. Like I would get the ball like kind of like in the far corner of my eye, and you don't see the whole thing, but you see enough of it flinching to be able to get off on time. Because again, the most important thing is when you're on the road is you have to get off on the mark. You have to get off, because if you're late, that's when you have that horrific sack fumble, or Abdul Carter just buzzes past you and kills the quarterback, and they play Zombie Nation for the 7 millionth time. So again, I'm just telling you, the operation of the offense is so critical. And I'm telling you, like if Ryan and Chip Kelly and those guys, they've got to get the noise going, and they got to get these guys focused, and they got to get these guys to realize, hey, this is going to be a massive challenge to go to State College. And again, there's no more rewarding place in the Big Ten to win than State College, because it's so loud. The fans are nasty. I mean, I wish it was a night game, because then they're extra drunk and crazy. And it felt so good winning there in 07, my senior year. And we beat them in 12 too. They weren't as good in 12, but we beat them. And again, it's just it's a tremendous challenge. And again, there's a lot of adversity around this team right now, between the lack of the running game, Josh Simmons, who's the best tackle in America, being out for the season, Zen potentially being out for the season, running game, all the rest. But with tremendous adversity comes an opportunity for tremendous achievement. So again, that's what I tell these guys on offense. I'm like, look, guys, like when the world's counting you out, and the Ohio State fan base is ready to kill all of you because we run for 2 yards a carry with 2 first-round guys, like what would it feel like to just cram it squarely up everyone's hind end? Because that's kind of where I'd be. Again, like when we played there in 07, like I was insane about how loud the place was. And I said, like in 05, when we had better players, when we had Dick Mangold and Rob Sims and NFL, Nick's an NFL Hall of Famer damn near, and Rob played 8 years. It's like we didn't handle the noise well enough. And that's what, and 4 of us got drafted in the NFL. Dadish got drafted too. We didn't handle the noise well enough. So again, in 07, when we were out there with me and 4 guys that didn't get drafted as the starting O-line, we were much better versus the noise. We handled it, and it wasn't an issue at all. Because again, we really focused on it, and we made sure that we had that laser focus, which you need. So again, if I'm Justin and I'm Tim Drevno and I'm Mike Salini and I'm Chip Kelly, and again, if we don't help whoever's playing left tackle, you'll unleash the god of fury on Saturday night if we do not do that to help the left tackle out versus Abdul Carter in that noise, because that'll be gross negligence by Chip Kelly and Ryan Day. So again, for the love of God, help the left tackle out, especially if it's Donnie, who hasn't played tackle in 4 years. Help the dude out. All right, Nevada, we got some super chats. Any final thoughts? We'll start digging into some of these.
No, just the problem with this season, really, for me as a fan, is that it's pretty much lost, because after we lost to Oregon, we're all the way down to number 4. and so I'm not sure how we're ever gonna survive going there now that these BCS rankings have come out and or whatever it is, and it's hey, we're just gonna have to battle. I just tell all you Ohio State fans, be strong, man, be strong. These are dark times, but they can't last forever, and someday we'll be better. We're gonna, and maybe we win a top 5 matchup this week. What do you think about that? But then it won't be a top 5 matchup because Penn State's not in the top 5 anymore.
Because
right?
they'll be we'll beat them by like 1 point. They'll be number 6. So that will not be the top 5 matchup.
Darn it.
Jim Knowles can't win the top 5 matchup because he's going to get a team that fell to number 6 after we beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just remember, Nevada will always have Belgium and Ireland and Swedish women's soccer. No, not Greece. We definitely not Greece. Greece is a 0. So thank you, Greece. Thank you, Greece, for Greece they have hot women that are not good at soccer. So that's like the perfect combination when you're betting against them. All right. Larry Daniels 1. Thank you for the 5. Thinking after the last 2 games, the Bucs are going to tear some teams. PSU, a new one. I mean, that'd be my mentality. I mean, again, like, it's amazing how a couple of games can soil, in the words of Nevadabuck, soil the buoy. Because coming into the Oregon game, like, everyone's like, the running game is incredible. And, I think that I understand why it took a step back versus Oregon, because all of a sudden you lose your All-American left tackle who was playing at a phenomenal level. I mean, he was playing. I mean, I watched the tape and I was like, I just don't think anyone in Ohio State's nation understands how good Jimmy Simmons is, because he's really good. Again, I talked to an NFL player personnel director last week, and he thought he was in the mix to be the top tackle in the NFL draft, which again, he wasn't David Sanders or Samson Okunloa or Chantrell Henderson or whoever, but he was literally the top guy in the draft. So, so losing him is devastating. And again, I wish him a full recovery. I mean, again, he's back at the Woody. He got his knee worked on. So, but it's hard to, you can't really replace that. It's like losing, like, I mean, I'm not even going to say the word Will Howard. I mean, because I don't even know what we do if we lost Will, but it'd be like losing JJ. You lose JJ. I mean, you can put in Ennis, but it's not the same as JJ. JJ's a different level. So I don't know. Like, I think that these guys, they've been beat on. And again, I don't want to play the mental warfare game, but 2 weeks after Oregon, everybody's like, oh, the offense came through and the defense sucks. And then magically, like, we played Nebraska and the defense is balling and our offense was a little stagnant. Now, they came back and won the game when they needed to. So again, I know nobody gives them credit for that, but I do. But I think that we got to get the running game going, because the running game, it takes pressure off the entire team, especially the defense. And it's inconceivable to average 2 yards a carry when you have Trey Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Like, that is absolutely insane in my mind. But what are your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, what exactly, is there a question? Was there a question or was that an observation?
Larry said, I'm thinking after the last 2 games, the Bucs are going to tear some team, in quotes, Penn State, a new one. So I said why I thought that we were going to tear Penn State a new one. And do you have any observations?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think that,
or are you in the cancel the season crowd, and you're on to Ohio State basketball with Chris Holtman's ghosts in the shot?
No, I'm telling you what, I like betting teams coming off a bad performance or something. No, I do. I mean, because I think that when that generally happens, they respond. And after the Oregon game, everybody was on the defense, and what happened? The defense bowed their back and had a better game against Nebraska. Well, now everybody's on the offense. So what do I expect to happen? I think the offense will bow its back and have a better game. And I think the defense is going to be what it is. The defense is supremely talented, and Penn State truly does not have guys on the outside that can threaten you. And we're going to bring pressure. So the only thing that's going to beat you is their tight end screen game, or the quarterback slipping out of the pocket if it's the backup and running, because Aller's not going to beat you with his legs. So I like the way that matches up. This isn't like an Oregon game where Oregon had legitimate guys on the outside that could go. Penn State does not have those guys that can threaten you. And I think when you have that, that's going to be problematic for them. And I think offensively, I would be stunned if a Chip Kelly, Ryan Day offense with all this talent has hiccups 2 weeks in a row. Not that I think that we're going to go out and score 60 on Penn State, but I think we'll have a much more efficient afternoon.
Yeah, I agree. I think that these guys are going to be motivated. And again, Will Howard already expressed his motivation when he grew up a Penn State fan, and they didn't offer me. And so, I mean, he's going to want this game worse than anything in the world, so that for the rest of his life, when he goes home, he can say that I told you so. Kyle Hauser, thanks for the deuce. What are ways players get stickers on helmets? Nevada, I'm going to ask you first. Do you have any idea how we get a sticker on the helmet?
I mean, I have an idea, but I'm sure what I would say would probably be 80% right. And you know the answer to this question. So I'm going to just throw it to you. And you can talk about how you get it. And you can also talk about how you might not get stickers or how you might lose stickers on your helmet if you do something naughty.
Are you saying that I lost? Did I tell you the story about when Tressel took my stickers away?
You did tell me that story. You were a naughty boy.
I did tell you that, for real. Do you remember it? Do you remember any of the details to it?
Well, I thought it was just because either the comments about the Zwick thing. It was something about some sort of. Which one was it? I can't remember which one of your outbursts you got punished for.
No, but it wasn't. So you don't remember?
Oh no! It was like Under Armour shirt instead of the.
Oh,
Nike
you
shirt.
do! Look at you!
Come on!
You took your Limitless pill today. You took your drinking. You drank your green juice today. I like it.
Let's go.
That's good, man.
For the win. For the win, baby.
I know that Viagra got the blood flowing up to your brain, so it's swirling around and remembering everything, man. I like it.
I need to hang up the phone.
so all right. So Nevada nailed it. Yeah, I didn't accidentally. I wore Under Armour because the Nike stuff was trash back then. They've made it a lot better now, but the Nike undershirts were terrible. So, and a lot of us would wear Under Armour because, like, when Under Armour first came out, Nike didn't make anything that was similar. So, every year we'd go to the mall and go to Foot Action, and guys would wear. I mean, go look up the O2 team and go watch Mike Doss and Maurice Clarett and Dustin Fox. They wore Jordan wristbands and Under Armour, and I mean, they did, like, Nike wasn't as militant as they became later. And but again, like, Jordan is still Nike, but like, Maurice would wear like Jordan sweatbands every game. So the way you get stickers, and again, the criteria, it changes a little bit from coach to coach, but like with Tress, and with Urban, for Tress, like, if you're an offensive lineman, if you're the offensive lineman of the week, which we used to do, I don't think they do that anymore, you get a sticker. If you get a champion's grade, which we used to call that a winning performance, you get a sticker. If we win, we'd get a sticker. If you won and it was a Big Ten game, you get a sticker. So, if you beat Penn State and you're the O-lineman of the game and you get a winning performance, like, that's 4 stickers. And then there were like offensive metrics where it's like you had to play a certain number of plays to qualify. So they didn't, just because you're on the offense and we had 500 yards or whatever, that didn't mean that you got a sticker. If you played, 65% of the plays or something, you'd get the sticker. Otherwise you didn't. So, and that was how, and the guys that would always clean up on the helmet stickers were guys that played special teams. So it'd always be like safeties like Mike Doss and linebackers like Matt Wilhelm, AJ Hawk. And obviously they're excellent players, but they're also on the punt team, punt return. Usually like our better guys aren't on kickoff return. They might be running down on kickoff, because that's the cheapest way to get a lot of stickers, is to be on special teams. If you're on good special teams units, then all of a sudden you're going to get a lot of stickers from those. So that's how Mike Doss could get both sides of his helmet filled up. Like, I could never do that in a million years playing offensive line, just because I don't have that. Even if I'm winning performance and O-lineman of the game, like, they would get 4 or 5 extra per unit per game, so they could fill up both sides. So a lot of it is criteria based upon what the offense does, and then do you get a winning performance? Are you a champion? Are you the offensive player of the game? Are you the receiver of the game? Are you the overall player of the game? Whatever. So that's how they dole them out. But again, it's really slanted towards the medium and little guys that can play special teams, especially like with coverage units. Like, if you can play kickoff and punt return, if you're a guy that's on all 4 special teams and you play a lot on defense, like, you're going to get a lot of stickers. You're going to get a ton. So you'll like lead the whole team. Like, a guy like Caleb Downs would probably be one of the team leaders because he's a great player, but he also plays on a bunch of special teams. Guys that are gunners, like when we used to have like Terry McLaurin be a gunner and he was a starting wide receiver, like, he'd get a bunch. If you're on the kick return, if you're a good kick returner, that helps. So that's how you get it. And And if you lose, you don't get any. And so if you lose the game, you don't get any stickers. So if you lose a couple games, you're gonna have a pretty barren helmet. In 2007, decided to wear an Under Armour undershirt, which was an Under Armour metal shirt, which I really liked. And I wore it in the game. Nobody could tell it was an Under Armour shirt because it didn't have a logo on the sleeve. And then at the post-game press conference, I went up to the podium, and I left. Back then, Tressel would always have us with captains. We'd go up with our jerseys on because, like, as soon as the game was over and we did our little, rah at the end of the thing, like, we would go straight to the media. It'd be me and the other captains, and Tress would all do media, and we'd still be in our jerseys and our football pants, or sometimes I'd slip into some basketball shorts, whatever, and go up there. And I had my V-neck jersey on, and it had a big Under Armour logo right at my chin. So, I get into the building the one day, and I look at the board, and it says how many leaves we got, and I have a 0. So obviously I'm like absolutely furious. I'm like, why do I not have any? And then, Bowles has Jim Bowman, he has the thing printed off, and Tress, and, we got a call from our Nike rep, and, I'm always kind of a smart aleck, which I know that none of you guys would ever believe that, but I was like, well, they don't pay me anything. This is an NIL. And I literally said their stuff sucks. So the Nike rep actually sent us black shirts, because our thing back in the day as an offensive line is we'd all wear black undershirts. Like, that was kind of the thing that me and Nick Mangold started doing. So then we, like, every game, if you watch when we played, we all had black, like, T-shirts on that were tight shirts underneath our pads. So they'd send us a bunch of Nike, because Nike wouldn't give us them, and we had these terrible white ones that were trash. And so again, a lot of us would buy Under Armour, because you guys have to remember, when Under Armour first came out, it was like completely different from anything Nike made. They didn't make a compression shirt or a tight shirt. And, when you're playing football and, and you've got like a good compression shirt, like, it's comfortable. It doesn't stay wet. It would be like the moisture wicking stuff. So, I was like, well, so we would all buy those. And I mean, the whole team wore Under Armour underneath our Nike stuff when I got there, because again, it was either that or you wore like an old crappy Champion gray shirt that the team would issue. Like, I mean, I'm talking crappy. Like, it's something you'd wear like to paint your house or something. And we're all like, well, why don't we get like a nice Under Armour shirt? Because it's way more comfortable and it doesn't hold water like a crappy gray shirt does. So long answer to a very good question. So I appreciate that. Casey, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my dude. I think that Day, Knowles, and Kelly need to bring it, Nevada. Just once in a top 5 matchup, I want to look up at the end of the game, say we outcoach the other team in all 3 phases, and we win. Nevada, is that what you want? Is that what you're rooting for? For us to be able to look up at the scoreboard and say that we won? Because, again, this will not be a top 5 matchup if we win, because Penn State will be number 6.
Yeah, or lower. If we violate them, they'll fall lower. No, yeah, I just want to win. I mean, I just want to win by 1 point. I don't care if the defense does it, the offense does it. It's special teams driven. I don't care if people think we're the luck guys. I just want to win. I really can't stand Penn State. I mean, my hatred for Penn State is not anywhere near my hatred of Michigan, which is, visceral and
severe
and forever and severe. But I don't like Penn State. I don't like their fans. I don't like anything about it. I am super glad the game is not at night. I know you're like, I want a night game. I want the toughest possible environment. I'm like, no, I don't want the night game. I want it to be quiet. I like them to play the game at.
Oh,
look at you. Ooh.
I'm back. There you
go. Okay, good. No, I just want to win. I just want to win, and I mean, we should win. We have a better staff. We have a better team. We have better players. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, but we're doing a little bit of good luck. We've had some negative variance lately. We're due some positive variance, and I think we'll find it.
W Buckeye, thank you for the 10. The people who cover the team were on the Big Ten radio today, trashing the defense, saying they were not playing hard, Nevada. Fan base needs to leave the media beat guys if they're going to trash our guys. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada? Do they need to leave the media beat guys? Because, again, I don't know what game they were watching. I thought our defense played really hard. Now, they weren't perfect, but I thought that I didn't question their effort at all. I thought they were playing really hard. And again, even when I'm like hard on Tigra and some of these guys, like, I don't think that he's not trying. I just think that he needs to be better with his technical stuff, his technique. Again, I don't think that he doesn't want to do it right, but at some point you got to put in some more work to get your get your thing going a little bit. You got to get a little bit more juice behind your drive blocks. Again, 'cause that was the things I think. I don't know if Tigger got tired or what it was, but what are your thoughts, Nevada? Do you think that our defense was not playing hard according to the national media beat guys?
Well, yeah. I'd have to hear the comment. I'm not sure, was it local beat guys, was it national guys? What exactly was the comment? But no, I think anybody that had issues with the defense beyond we gave up too many explosive plays is really not paying attention. I mean, I thought the defense, they played hard, they were creative. The blitzing was not just let's bring more guys than they have, but sometimes it was sometimes bringing it from the left, sometimes from the right, sometimes dropping guys. I thought it was extremely effective, considering the fact that they had never really run a pressure package that extensively before. So it's clear that they practiced it a lot, and it was nice to see that a philosophical change like that. So no, I mean, I'm fine with it. Our defense, it's going to come down to, can we get the running game going? And, you saw what Nebraska was doing. Nebraska was kind of looping that safety around and taking away the quarterback keep, and Ohio State adjusted on that final touchdown play where the play that shut up the touchdown where Will Howard ran it down there. And so I think there's things that you can do to kind of confound a defense, even if your left tackle isn't the greatest left tackle in the world. Because let's face it, of the 135 teams in college football right now, how many of them have premier left tackles? I mean, how good is the Army left tackle? Probably not super awesome. Probably wouldn't be in the top 4 or 6 here at Ohio State, but somehow they managed to run the ball. So it's like, at some point, just be good enough. You know what's kind of going on out there, scheme them up, and I think we'll be just fine on Saturday.
You know what's funny, Nevada? I love that you said that, because when people say that we take 3-star Ohio specials and 3-star projects and everything, and that's why we can't run the ball because we didn't get David Sanders Jr. or Samson Okunlola or whatever turd to be named later.
Jordan Seaton.
Who leads the nation in rushing?
Army.
Do they have I don't even know if they have a 2-star on their O-line. I don't even think they have a single 2. I mean, I don't know if they have a 2. And again, this isn't anything against Army, but it's like, if you're signing up to play at Army, you're probably foregoing, in general. They've had like one guy go to the NFL in the last like 20 years on the O-line. So, because you have military commitment. So, I mean, if you sign up to go to Army, it's like you're basically saying, okay, well, I probably don't think I can make it to the NFL, but I'm going to get an incredible education. And obviously, Army and Navy are 2 of the greatest programs in the entire country. But, that's why when people say it's talent versus scheme, well, Army is 1,000,000% scheme. And they've got guys that believe in the scheme, and they're effective, and they're nasty, and they cut the crap out of people. So I don't know. It's just funny when people say, well, the guys suck. I was like, sometimes the scheme sucks. I didn't think, and again, there's no 2 bigger fans of Chip Kelly on this earth than you and I. But I really question the scheme from last week. And again, I don't like doing that with Chip because I think Chip's a genius, but it's just I didn't think that we had enough confusion in the package, where I thought a lot of the stuff that we did was easy to defend. So, like, to me, the way I judge a lot of stuff is how hard are we to go against. And when I looked at some of the rushing schemes are doing, like, I was like, well, that's pretty easy to go against. Like, there's no RPO option. There wasn't any pulls from Will Howard. I mean, again, there's a litany of things that you can do to make yourself harder to go against. And I thought we left a lot in the bag. Now, the start of the season, I was like, man, that's really good stuff. And even against Oregon. So I'm interested to see what rolls through here. Bando Rick, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the deuce. I hope you're having a great night. Do you think we used the entire bye week for Penn State? I know for sure that we did not, just because, when you're dealing with kids, man, you gotta really compartmentalize each week. You can't say, well, hey guys, we're gonna punt the Nebraska game and just get ready for Penn State, and so we're gonna show their scheme. I mean, it'd be too confusing to the kids. And these coaches, I mean, they might have done a little bit of the dance stuff for Penn State, but they didn't do anything with the kids in Penn State. because you can't. I mean, it's hard enough to keep it straight when you're going against one team. You can't say, well, this is what we're doing this week to get ready for Nebraska, but delete this from your mind because this is what Penn State's going to do against us. So we're going to kind of swirl it up and mix it up. So again, there's no chance. And again, I wish that there was a way that I could put it some other way, but we didn't. Like I said, we might have done some advanced scouting and done some. By advanced scouting, I mean you always have take a look at a couple of the Penn State games when you have them in it, but I don't think we did anything with the kids. So no. David Kennedy, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my friend. Megadittos Kirk in Nevada. Do you see Roll said the shoe environment made it tough for them? Nevertheless, please draft a petition of your top 5 environmental enhancements and let the 33,000 Scoop strong sign it for Ross Bjork. Nevada OH. See, David, I think that's a fantastic idea because we can get at least, even if we get like a quarter of the signatures, I think it would move the needle a little bit. But, I could see our environment being tough, especially when you have a freshman quarterback and, their line wasn't great. So, at the end of the game, when we needed it, the crowd was there, but it's just not consistent. That's the thing that I think that we harp on is it's not as, because again, I think that a lot of our fans, it's like they've seen the same movie before and they're not excited for Nebraska. Because I think a lot of our fans, they're more focused on where the team's rated in the polls than who it is or, hey, we're just here to be loud. So when Nebraska's not rated high, and again, our fans are just as biased as the players when they lose 65-7 or whatever to Indiana. Like our fans think it's going to be a cakewalk and they treat it like a cakewalk when they get to the stadium. So they're not loud and they don't care until the very end when they had to be. And I give them kudos for that. Nevada, your thoughts. Do you think that Matt Rule, he said that the shoe environment made it tough on the team? And also, are you down to draft a petition of your top 5 stadium enhancements? I think that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, all 5 would be to give Nevada ultimate responsibility to be the noise czar at the Ohio Stadium, and I would fix it.
Give him a new TV. Give him a new TV. TV that works.
That's number 1 on the list. But after that, I just think for Ohio State fans, we just don't have a noise culture. The people are at the games. And you always wonder, like, why are you at the games? And I think for Ohio State fans, they feel like we've got this inherent birthright that we should win every game. And not only win every game, we should cover and we should annihilate all these other teams and line the ball up and point to the hole we're going to run through it. And that's the way that it should be. And when it doesn't go that way, they get disappointed and they get upset. And not only are they're not making noise, they're booing their own team. So I just think that we got to Ross has got to change the culture, and the fans have got to change it. The fans have got to say, something, we've got to create a home field advantage. And I just think that when you're dealing with mobs, and that's what 105,000 people, it's a mob. You need to incent the mob and kind of incite the mob to cheer, and that's what Ross has got to do, and he's got to get better at it. And yeah, I would create any petition. I'd be part of any petition. And as long as any petition included fix Nevadabuck's television in his room, I will I will, if offered, I will serve. And if asked, I will give my suggestions. And if not, I will drink my cocoa and complain about my television up there and yell at all you other people about not being loud. Because we are loud in our box is loud. In fact, we will inflict violence upon the visiting fans next to us if they dare to stand up and bow their backs up, because that's the way that we roll, man. We do not make it a safe, pleasant environment for the opposing team starting in the Huntington Club.
Especially when the KeyBank suite is nothing. It's nothing but Michigan fans. KeyBank has they fill their entire suite with Michigan fans. It's the greatest thing ever. I'm like, oh my god. And little Funk is just screaming at him the whole game. That was 62-30. It was the Haskins game, 62-35. So it was like Funky was just on, like, he was like the cocaine bear. He was just killing them the whole time. He's like the cocaine bear at the campsite, man. He was just killing those guys. And it's like, I was like, I hope KeyBank lost all their Michigan clients that they brought to the game in full head to toe Michigan gear. Oh my God. People are like, I'm never going to do business with KeyBank again. They brought nothing but Michigan honks. Geodit42, what's up, brother? Thanks for the 5. I think as you alluded to, QB power and QB draws will have to absolutely be incorporated more in this game, JT Barrett. That will help the line. Well, I don't know if I want QB powers just because I don't want to run Will Howard into the A gap where he can get smashed by a big fat D tackle or a linebacker. I like the read option stuff because he can get out on the edge. And again, when some big dude is coming to kill him, he can slide. You know, again, like Q power, like, I mean, I know Tebow was a tank and JT was a menace, but you know, you're on a big risk when you run the guys up the middle. And again, like Emeka Egbuka, like I want him to carry the ball. Now, I don't want him to run in the A gap. I don't want to run between the tucks. I want him to be out on the edge because, again, I don't want him to get hit by some big monster. Like Quinshawn and Trey are built for that. The Mecca isn't. Neither is Will Howard. And Will Howard, frankly, is the most valuable player on the team by about 10x at this point in Nevada because, God, I don't know where we'd be without Will Howard. I don't even want to imagine where we'd be without Will Howard, but he's by far the most valuable guy, so you got to take care of him as best you can, which is why I don't kill Ryan for not running him, but you know, you need to run him on the edge in these matchup games just to give us a little bit of a numbers advantage in the running game, in my opinion. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Gio did it again. Thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. I think, as you have alluded to, QB power and QB draws will have to be absolutely incorporated more into this game, a la JT Barrett. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, you got to run Will. I mean, you know, there are certain games where you got to just dial it up, and as much as we don't want him taking unnecessary hits, every hit here at Penn State is necessary. He's a big lad. He can take it. And I'd run the heck out of him. I think that's the greatest stressor on defenses is quarterback run, quarterback keep. And, I'd get the ball in Will Howard's hands as many creative ways as humanly possible.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Nevada, good show. Let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
No, just it's going to be it was a fun press conference. It's always fun watching those guys talk. Like you said, it was fun watching Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles take the beat writers to school and Ryan Snarley. And I like a Snarley Ryan, and we're gonna keep digging for the configurations of the offensive line, and we'll let you know what we get. But other than that, get ready for Saturday.
Yeah, those guys. I love when they kill the media. It's the best. All right. Appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this. Again, if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys so much for all that you guys do. Another huge night because you guys made it one. So thank you for that. Shout out to my Southern Ohio boys. Shout out where you guys are watching from. All my Ohio folks, put that down in the comments. All my Florida folks, hope you guys are recovering okay from the hurricane. My people in the Carolinas, Georgia, Texas, California, all over the country. We appreciate you guys tuning in. So put where you guys are watching from in the comments. I always love seeing that. It's always cool to see, especially as we are a global show and you guys watch from all over the place because that's where the analytics are saying you guys are at. So again, if you guys want to help us out in a huge way, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify, completely free. And again, it's the best thing you can do to really help us out because we're trying to grow that. It is a little tiny trickle right now, but it's getting bigger and bigger thanks to you guys. So thank you. And it's completely free, and it's absolutely awesome when you guys do that. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We will see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. We will be back ready to roll. Go Bucks.